Hello, my YouTube family. I'm Helen Sattler, and I'm here answering your questions that you have concerning narcissism and the relationship that you have endured now in or coming out of. Thank you so much for the emails that I get. Many of you are writing me, and I'm so appreciative of that. And I'm really, really, really thrilled to be able to answer your question. The question tonight is, what is the primary supply and how are they recruited? The primary supply of the narcissist. Hello there, Lighthouse. How are you? Glad to have you on board with me. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel and you like this information, please subscribe. Hello, Kathy 711. How are you? She said, we are happy because of you. Thank you so much. That is so sweet. Hello, Annette. How are you? And Day of Social Work. I'm so glad to have you on. Excuse me. We're talking about primary supply. The question was the primary supply. What is primary supply, and how is it recruited? How are they recruited by the narcissist? She said, you are helping us tremendously in our healing process. Kathy 711P, I will give you a big hug. I am so glad. That make me feel so good. And that Bus, hello, how are you? And she says she's doing well, and I am glad that you're doing well. Thank you for being with me. I want to maximize, excuse me, our time today. And we want to deal with primary supply. Many of you that are on this Periscope have been the primary supply, and you know what that's like to be held in high regards, but you know also the price of that, because to be this primary supply carry with it a huge price. The primary supply get to meet the narcissist family. They get to be around the narcissist friend. Of course, it's intimate. And then when you get the greater narcissist, he always is intimate with the primary supply. And most of the schools of narcissists are intimate with their primary supply. The primary supply is the chief supply. They give the greater supply, but there are some characteristics for this primary supply that as we go into it, even though they're the primary, the characteristics may not be so good. Because when you have access to the narcissist, what that means also, you have access to the torture and the torment of the narcissist. So that great supply comes with a lot of sacrifice. She said how to challenge cognitive distortion. Yes, so what you do is, if you want to you have any questions, you can always ask the questions, and maybe we can place this in the questions and in the information that we're doing it. How do you, excuse me, challenge cognitive distortion? That means the mental games, the mindset of the narcissist. They distort the supplier because the narcissist itself is distorted. Their intelligence, their cerebralness is really crazy, because they're living in a disillusional world. They live in a world of lies. They make their world as they go from the reflection of others, because the people they meet, they take on their personality through mirroring. And so any good that narcissist had came from who he mirrored, and any devastation that the narcissist grew up with, he grows it. Hello there. Is there Jordani? How are you? Good morning to you. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the primary supply. When the narcissist recruit the primary supply, and how he take that primary supply into training, boot camp, because boot camp is intensity. Boot camp is focus. Boot camp is intentional. It desires to bring out of you intentional characteristics, and it is to bring out the intentional disciplines, because primary supply have to have certain disciplines in order to be with the narcissist. He trains them. And if you notice that the narcissist would tell you they're going to call you at a certain time, the narcissist will always tell you, and they will get very angry when you don't meet those timelines, when they are telling you blessings unto you also, Prophetess Maria. When the narcissists tell you they're going to call you at 10, they expect for you to be aligned at 10, because the narcissists have you in boot camp. And when he recruits you, he's testing you to see how he's going to categorize you. What placement are you going to be in? Are you going to be in the secondary, third level, fourth level, fifth level, sixth level? And some of the narcissists, when you go to the school of narcissists, the mid-grade narcissists, the upper mid-grade, and the greater narcissists usually are hosted with supply, that when one get degraded and devalued and discarded, another supply has already been kicked in, where they never go without fuel, and they have so much supply to this matrix until basically it doesn't hurt them. It hurts their ego if a supply escape. Every narcissist hate for the supply to escape, because it makes them feel weak. It makes them feel non-credible, because they get into grandiosity and you're not supposed to, because they spend a lot of time getting you addicted to them. And most narcissists, especially the mid-grade, upper mid-grade, greater narcissists, they pretty much know who they are. They know the results of them being around you. They know the pain that they're going to cause you. The narcissists, that's why they train you, because the narcissists know when they meet you, they're going to cause astronomical pain. They're going to leave you almost devastated. And the narcissists want you to recover, because they don't want that to be the end of that fuel. That'll be the beginning of that fuel. And so they will spend 3 to 6 months cultivating you, and then you will get into, because usually within the first 3 months you're going to do something, because you're human, to make them know your imperfection. Because you got to remember the new supply, which we will talk about too. The new supply in their mind is perfect until their humanity come out, and then the discard happen, because every narcissist think they're perfect. Every narcissist think they're just grandiose. Every narcissist think that there's nobody that's better than them. And the narcissists that do plead and go to sympathy, they go to sympathy as a result of getting what they want. They get that fuel. They go to sympathy to bring you into a greater conviction and condemnation, and to bring you into shame. So the primary supply with a narcissist is the person that he holds to the highest standard. That primary supply is one of the most valuable pieces. But you got to remember what the narcissists value most. Get the most torment. And you're going to get the most torment because you're with the narcissist all the time. The narcissists don't want you to try to own them. The narcissists need to move on. The narcissists get tired of the same thing. The narcissists bore easily. Their attention span is not long. Because they want to move on. And this is why, and Kathy 711 said, Dr. Carmen said, there is, excuse me, primary, secondary, tertiary supply. My question, Apostle Helen, will they discard them all? Absolutely. Absolutely. Discard is part of the matrix of the narcissist. Everybody get discarded. The only person that don't get discarded is the dirty little secret. The dirty little secret gets discarded too in the way, but you got to remember the dirty little secret, they only do on a temporary basis. Don't spend a lot of time with them. They hide them away. So that dirty little secret really don't have time to offend them, except when they start asking questions, why can't I see you more? Why can't I have you more? Then boom, the discard and the devaluation start to happen then. And so the primary supply would get the most torment among all of these suppliers. Absolutely. Because you got to remember, the primary supply can usually reach the narcissist. The primary supply is spending more time with the narcissist. The primary supply is getting to know the narcissist. And the narcissist mask come off more with the primary supply because the narcissist is with that supply. The primary supply get to go to different functions in public where the narcissist allow them to be visible, allow them to be seen. And then what the narcissist does is allow them to know their friends and their family. So the primary get to meet people that a lot of other people don't know. The primary may even get into some business venture and get into some of the narcissist business aspect because they need to show their primary source. That primary source is going to represent who the narcissist is, even if he has to train that primary source. And so during the love bombing, the narcissist need to make sure that their primary source is broken down with total control. The more control the narcissists have, and the more fuel that primary source give. And you got to remember, it's an intimate primary source. So they are sexually involved with that narcissist, and the narcissist got the ultimate soul tie, and the narcissist's goal is to get you so addicted until you don't think you can survive without them, especially a primary source. And because you're around them all the time, the oxytocin, the dopamine, the serotonin, and your adrenaline is just on the rise. It is high. And then when they get you in a relaxed mode, it's like having tryptophan released all in your body, except this is at an all-time high. I mean, your hormones are off the scale with that narcissist, because that narcissist is love bombing you to the point that the glow is on your face. People say you look like you glowing. Are you pregnant or something that's going on? Because that narcissist know how to woo you, and he have such an effect on the heart. He gives such peace because you think you found the perfect mate. He gives such confidence because you think he's faithful. He gives such strength because you think he's yours. And the whole time you don't know you're being defueled. The fuel is coming out from you. And the reflection of all that glory is not from the narcissist, because the narcissist is dark. The narcissist is diabolical. And you as the primary source, he mirrors you and bounce that back to you. So your level of confidence begin to grow, and growing that level of confidence make you so assured that that narcissist is with you. The primary source will get the worst torment. Absolutely. And he said, what's the dirty little secret? I'll tell you about that. She said, we are learning here, Apostle Helen and Dr. Carmen. They are a real blessing to us, Survivor. Thank you so much. She said, and totally agree. No doubt, no sorrow for sorry for interrupting. That is okay. Linda Gasting, thank you so much for being with us. She said, hello, you are so helpful. The upper grade narcissist recovers specialist where I live tormented me for years. Landlord finally placing me somewhere else, and the narc not happy. I am suffering from trauma bonding. Absolutely. Everybody that dealt with the narcissist, that spend a little time with the narcissist, has trauma bonding. Everyone, because they release trauma. They can only hold that mask for so long. Dr. Carmen mask is out, and that was the illusion of perfection. Please access that book on Amazon. It is ridiculous how a narc loses everything, just how a narc loses everything just for the narc fuel. Absolutely. Eddie, how are you? Good morning to you. Lighthouse said we are a strong family here, a very strong family. This is why we help one another, and what you went through begin to help someone else to go through, because some people have been recently discarded, some people have recently escaped, and everything in them want to go back. Everything in them keep telling them you made a wrong mistake. They know in their mind, but their emotions come in and try to capsize. And what is happening, you cannot allow your emotions in here. You cannot allow your reasoning into sound wisdom. You must make sound decisions. And a lot of times when you're making sound decisions, it is against what you feel, because what you want to feel is that narcissist. But isn't that the reason that trouble was in the first place, is feeling the narcissist? She said every day without them is in heaven. Oh yeah, it's difficult at first. It's difficult. Hello, Red. How are you? I was thinking about you. It's difficult at first to be without them until you detox. When you detox your emotion, you detox your mind, those hormonal levels go down, your body starts to heal, your time starts to heal. You are healing your time because you gave your time to the narcissist. Everything was about the narcissist. Nothing was about you. And so when you give your time to you again, you almost feel guilty because you did not give your time to the narcissist. And the narcissist, it requires to total you, because like we said last night, that narcissist want to be the God of your life, not just the lover of your life. They want to be the God of your life. So the narcissist will make sure that you are trauma bonded. Like she said, I am trauma bonded. So usually that is you are maybe new in the discard, or you may be new in the healing aspect. And the trauma bond takes time. It takes time to get over that trauma bonding. They spend a lot of time to make sure you are hooked really good. Hello, Gabrielle. And Gabrielle said, thank you for your words and wisdom. You are helping me save myself. That's our whole goal. Everything we do, we want you to survive, and we want you to thrive. Not only to survive, but to thrive, to elevate, to expand, to grow. Not diminish yourself, but to grow yourself. She said, good morning. Almost every time you explain the narcissist, I feel like I experienced so much of what you described. That's a lot, Apostle Sadler. But we are survivors and are thrivers. You believe it or not, when we all got the same testament, we all go through the same thing. We've all had the same experience. The narcissist makes sure that it doesn't matter if you get a narcissist in China or a narcissist in Africa or a narcissist in America. They take you through the same regimen. And that's why we was talking about that primary source that has been groomed for the narcissist. A primary source is like a Hazel or a Butler. They give themselves to the care of that narcissist, the freedom of that narcissist, the love, because you're loving them and them not loving you, of the narcissist. You're making sure all their needs are met. You're just like a mother to that narcissist, and that narcissist, or a father to that narcissist. You are carrying the burden, carrying the load. You don't realize that much of what the narcissists enjoy is as a result of what you give and what you do and what you say and what you see, and the time that he spends with you. He's spending out of your moment, out of your confidence, out of your time, out of your severity. He's spending it out of that. And that's why the primary source that has access to the narcissist, they will always be discarded. A primary source always go to discard, always, because the narcissist has to triangulate, and the primary source, he don't want the primary source getting in the way, because the primary source has all of his time, all of his moment, and he spent a lot of time with that primary source. And Red says here, she said the narc was grooming me for 5 years. She said, and I would question things, and he will always have some long, drawn out explanation, sound just like them. And Sandy Lou is joining us. Thank you for joining us, Sandy Lou. One thing about a narcissist is very, very, very careful. Very careful. He's very careful to make sure he pull out of you, because you got to remember this narcissist is cross-secting with the relationship, triangling with the relationship, getting mirror out of different personality. And the narcissist always needs new supply. They just can't hoover the old supply. So even if they how can I say, hoover again or circulate again, they will get new supply. They need new supply. They will not just hoover old supply. They will get new supply. And if you can look at the narcissist, many of the people, if you look at their road, people are laying all over the road. Can you imagine for thousands and thousands of miles in their life, people just laying wounded, hurt, body parts spread out everywhere. I mean, just missing, because the narcissist will go to any limit to satisfy his need for fuel. Everything they do is for fuel. Every word they say is for fuel. And so a lot of time, if you meet a narcissist, you're meeting them, but it's fuel that they want. And they will do anything to carry out that demand. So the primary supply is someone that is never in charge of the narcissist. The narcissist would never let you rule. And when it look like you rule, you're being manipulated. They will manipulate you into thinking that you have it all together. They will manipulate you into thinking that you are in control. They will manipulate you into thinking that you have the reins. And then they pull the rug out one day, just pull it. You wasn't prepared for closure. You weren't prepared for what they've done. But now it's on your plate. A primary supply is groomed very, 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 very well. Very well. And so the primary supply may not even come to the site until later down the line. But you know this, the primary supply is tortured by the narcissist. They are a flying monkey for the narcissist. Pretty much they're going to know about the narcissist and be able to keep cool and be able to keep their cool. The narcissist only care about one thing, himself. That's all the narcissists care about. And let's listen to what Jennifer said. She said, good morning. I have warned his new supply and all about my ex. She said, but she doesn't believe anything I say. Of course, she's been love bombed. Remember how they love bombing with you? You didn't believe anything. You didn't want to believe anything. She said, I was the primary and I had to leave. He doesn't like to work, so so she had to depend upon the works. She said, found out he was getting money from some other woman, also making excuses. Whoa. And then this is what Lighthouse said. She said, how to reclaim my dignity by taking time to do self-investment. You learn about who you are when you take time with who you are, and you can't feel guilty for learning who you are. Not guilty at all. And then look at what Eddie say. Every time when the narc open his mouth, it is a lie. Now that's really terrible. Generate bats. Was that Diddy? Okay, I got to see what that is. And that, okay. And Earth Harvesting said, good morning. And that said, I was never in control. He wanted all the control. He would snatch what he would do? He would snatch the rug up from me all the time. Yeah. because you can't get stronger than the narcissist. You're going to cause a narcissistic injury. You can't get more powerful than the narcissist. You're going to cause a narcissistic injury. It look like you're more successful than the narcissist. You're going to cause a narcissistic injury. The narcissist will discard you because of those reasons. He can't handle your happiness, your promotion. He can't handle anything that is good with you. Reg, I was staying in Jamaica with him when he was deported, and that's when I noticed a lot of outrage behavior. Whoa. And his family would say things to torment me behind my back. And what is that? She said, because I was so in it blindly and in love. Oh, yeah. She said, and I was the primary support. And so I thought little, okay, let me see. So I thought little did I know that the narc married someone else. It is crazy, but I'm healing now. And God bless you all. Amen. This is from Kathy. And Eddie said, God bless you for all of you. And he said, thank you for your wisdom. Let me tell you something. That when you are the primary supply, you know this. You know this. You know this. The narcissists make you feel elite and make you feel so good. And you are so proud. And you know you can get him. You can get him. And then when he starts ghosting, he starts fading out. Because remember, they get bored easily and they start fading out. So he starts ghosting. He starts slowly fading out away from you until he can position himself somewhere else. The narcissist is not sensitive to women's needs. It's not sensitive to men's needs. And who is this? This is Southern Marie. And she said, this makes sense to all that I've experienced. Exactly. The narcissist only care about himself. He don't care about you. He care about himself. And everything you do is for him. All of your energies, all of your time, all of your dreams, all of your goals must include him. If he find anything that have eye on it, he goes ballistic because the narcissist want all of your time at this point. He don't want you to have another spouse. He wants you to be miserable with him. And most of that, for most of you, that is a reality. And let's see here. Coco, how are you? She said, I felt myself worshiping him and conviction came to my heart. That was my wake-up call to back off. I felt drawn to him and like I had to do for him. Oh, see, yeah, that primary source. She said, I felt like I needed to bow down. See, that primary source. The narcissist fixed the primary source like a super empath. A super empath eats certain things. And it was a stranger in Jamaica that told me the truth about him. I didn't remember. Was there remember? To the church. The guy who said I was good for him not to do that right in front of him. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now let's talk about some conditions of the primary source. When the primary source goes into with the narcissist, what should the primary source expect? What should the primary source expect? Let's talk about it. Because the primary source, you hoovered in to see how much pain you can take. So they test you. Can you be obedient? So they test you with a phone call. Then they take you out to a restaurant. They watch your demeanor so they'll know where they can take you. And they watch how you handle finances. The cerebral narcissist can handle finance. They handle it very careful for business because they know they want to buy things. They can be irresponsible, but some of them can be responsible too. That's why it's hard to identify them when they go into the narcissistic abuse. And Sandy Lou says, look what she says. She said, I think I went from tertiary source, which is third source, to secondary source. Primarily the Wow. She said, and I think from the tertiary source the second time, then promoted to the primary source for 18 months. You went through hell for being demoted back to secondary source. Yep, they play that game. Who knows what? Deception, little being. Exactly. Red always on the edge. Wow. And I got promoted, then demoted. When the narcissist place you as a primary source, you can't go through demotion. You go through demotion when you don't give enough fuel. You go through the demotion when you miss appointment. You miss things that they told you. When you argue back at the narcissist and you've caused a narcissistic injury, you look for a promotion and they do it and they want to promote you openly and even showed you the supply that's even taking your place or the supply that got upgrade. My ex met his new supply while online. He moved to another state and she moved and moved in when they only knew each other a couple of years. That's interesting, especially when you've been 8 years. Uh-huh. And here he says, it must have what? It must to have been, I'm trying to get her last words. And Red said he lived on the edge like it was a huge risk taker, dangerously. Okay. And Marie says, yes, always on the edge. And Kathy said, here, any way you will heal. Bless your soul, sister. And who says Sandy Lou said, thank you. All righty. And remember, the primary source go through the worst torment, but the primary source has the great expectancy because the primary source has to conduct themselves with family, has to conduct themselves with business, has to conduct himself with free because he have boasted on you, especially if you're going through the love bombing. Oh my God, you are so perfect. He won't let anything touch you, anything that try to bother you with that primary source. He hurts. He hurts. He hurts. He tears that heart up because the primary source is so obedient. And then he think that primary source get pride and think that primary source think they owned him, but he cannot. You are movable. You're not stable. And it's like you're not sane because the primary source is crying out for deliverance. She needs help. He needs help because he feels like he's addicted to the narcissist. He feels like that he can't get away from that narcissist. He feel like everything is gone. He feel like that when the narcissist come in to tell him it's not gone, he feels like it is because the torment is so crazy. Then he tries to please the narcissist and the narcissist refuses to be pleased. It's like a baby with colic. You feed them, they won't feed. You remove feeding and then they want to feed. I think anything to keep you up, anything to break your composure. And let's see right here, your composure. And Red says here he had a lot of money here in America and went to deported. He was just in mother crab as in the book. Another crab as in the bucket. He snuck back into his country 6 months after being deported. Lighthouse. How it stop a narc from stalking me? How do I stalk a narc from stalking me? You're going to have to lose timelines because if you don't have police help, you can get a restrictive order and get them and restrict them from following you. You can say that you feel threatened. He feels threatened. And he's threatening you and you don't feel safe and you put out an order and he cannot come near you and you don't go near him. And the altar and the policeman will make sure that restraining order is viable. And this is Annette. She said, my husband told me that when we first got together, he thought I was perfect, but when he snowed me, He found out she wasn't perfect. Wow, 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 wow. And Eddie said, oh, yeah, almost every year he drove from home to my work just to have a coffee with me. And then 5 p.m., drove back again and moved me from work. In order to deal with a narcissist, the young man was talking about the narcissist being cerebral. You have to be pretty cerebral. You have to go to the word and get the mind of Christ. You have to, you even have to get seeds uh, of uh, that you put in your mind through proclamation. These seeds help you to realize who you are every, every, every day, every day, every day, every day. And so you have to build yourself up on your most holy faith, because what the enemy wants, he wants you to stop praying. He wants you to stop teaching the people. He wants you to not recognize what is going on, because before you know it, the primary uh, person have slipped into place. But being primary, once you hurt the narcissist come back with retaliation and try to remove you. Like the young lady said, she will be moved to third place, to that subject to demotion when she do things that seem offline. And he don't want you small. He don't want you losing weight. The narcissist constantly wants you at a certain size, but he makes sure that he get you and to eat things that is going to get you larger, that's going to get you bigger. And he does not like, the narcissist does not like when you use your mind. Even though you're cerebral and you are very competent of utilizing your own mind, the narcissist do not want you using your own mind. He definitely don't want you wearing your own style or any of that thing like that, because the narcissist is a very suspicious person. And if you know you was a primary source, who was a primary source? Who was a primary source to your see, primary source? Which one of you were a primary source? A primary source. Which one of you were a primary source? Can you recognize that you were a primary source, or do you not know? Jennifer, she said, I was, so you recognize. Who else was on here that was a primary source? Lisa, I was. Primary sources. Primary sources. She said, I was primary. I wasn't. Okay. He said, I was, but then I wasn't. Okay. Primary. Mm. Primary battle here. She said, for a while, okay, then you received a demotion. He had changed on you. She said, I was married to him, and I guess I was, yes, married. As always a primary. If he married you, you're always a primary source. She said, just as yesterday, I left completely. Woo. Ooh, Gabrielle, you're very new at this. Well, this site is going to help you, because mostly everybody here are very skilled. They're very skilled at it. They know what they're talking about. They know what was done to them, and they're able to fight. They're able to fight back. We want to give your fight back to you. We want to give you a reason where if you're married, so you have to use wisdom when you're talking about leaving. And if there's children, you really have a lot of involvement, and we're going to do a scope on that. Dr. Bryan has some things that she recommends, and she's put it in literature, and you can get that. He said, I did the first discard, married 9 years. You did the first discard. Well, from a narcissist, that's good business, because they don't want to change. It's not that they can't change. A narcissist don't want to change. And God wants you to change. You can't stay a narcissist. If you want change, it's not going to happen. All right. She said, I did the final discard. Man, ooh, you know he hates you. You know he hates you if you did the final discard. Do you know the narcissists hate when they discard you? They're not discarding you permanently. They are most of the time. Some of the time they don't come back. Whenever a narcissist discard you, they're going to hoover. They're going to hoover. They put you in the matrix. You're in the harem, and they are going to hoover again. When you escape, oh my God, that's just like the world coming to an end because you're not supposed to have the strength. You're not supposed to be able. So, Lisa, when you discarded them, you caused a tremendous narcissistic injury. She said, this is my third narc. I need to gain so much strength because I do have a child. See, when you're going through narcissism, you got a magnet. So what we got to do, we're going to have to get your magnet. We're going to have to demagnetize you. Because if you keep drawing the narcissist, there is something there that lures them, that gives them that beacon that you are the one. You definitely want to get rid of that. That is no good. Definitely not for your child. Not for your child. That is no, 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 no. That is able to affect the mind and shut down the brain. Not going to happen. And then over ambitious one says good morning. Okay, let's see whatever. I have never met someone healthy, minimize, and always have a dated narc. She said, and I quoted him now, and he hides when he sees me. So you outed him, and now he hides when he sees you and sees you. Does that mean he won't come back? No, that doesn't mean he won't come back. That means he just don't need you. Now you're injuring him. You're causing him narcissistic injury. He is thinking about how to come back because he's thinking about retaliating. Once you go back to a narc, the discard is going to be worse because they're going to do everything they can to hoover you and get you in, and they're going to love bomb. They're going to love bomb and maximize. They're going to maximize that hoover. Even if it's a malignant hoover, they want to maximize that hoover because he's planning to drop you. He is planning to drop you. Are you listening to me? He's planning to drop you. Social worker said, I think I was. One over ambition said, even though I escaped aiming him the trouble and triangling, he's still trying to hoover. This claim had silence. The claim and silence he's displayed now would be at the same realm as true disdainment. Absolutely. Absolutely. He can't stand you. Have you ever looked at a narcissist look at you? If you catch them off guard, they don't look like they love you. They look like they hate you. They look like they're plotting your demise. So if you are primary source, laying under him, talking to him, meeting his friends, and you think you're getting closer, no, you're getting set up. Because he wants to hurt and he's going to devalue you. The primary source will always, always, always be devalued. Sometimes not the secondary source because he see them few and in between. There are so many secondary, tertiary source until they don't always come back to you immediately. And he makes his round. And the more supply he have, the more he have to categorize it until they filing you away in a system. If you got 4 people that he see at the same time, he want to keep this 4, and maybe May and June is this 4. Right here. And then he goes over and bring in more sources. And then June and July is these people. And so when he come back around to that season or that time, or he don't have supply, he'll pull that card and get these 4. And he usually try to keep them together so they can be organized. So this 4 get hoover at the same time because that's the way they started. And that way he don't break rank, because in order for a narcissist to come after you, it takes a lot of energy out of him to love bomb you, to tell you how wonderful you are. And probably after he get off the phone, he just falls on the floor and say, "Oh my God." Well, he won't say, "Oh my God," because then he could be saved, right? Okay, let's see what else is being said. Listen to Red. She said, each time they come back, the abuse is progress. It progresses. Absolutely, Red. It gets worse. And that's what we're telling people, because we've had people to go back. It is a lie. Don't ever believe them when they say they love you, they miss you, and they want to come back to show you they know they tell you, "I know you hate me. I know you don't like what I did." Of course I did. You almost ripped my heart out. So how I'm going to like you? No, you stay where you are and I'll stay where I am. She said, and this is so true that you have hate. Yeah, they have hate in their eyes. She's a biggest regret of my life. Earth harvester. I think we all have that testament. She's an over ambitious one said. He looks disgusted when he would even FaceTime me. He blamed it on his mother. Yeah. And then when he got with other folk, he blamed you. She said, yes, think he had a realm of them. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And Eddie said, I know a woman who was pampering for 3 years to live and save money, etc. And when they came, she told him that she is moving. And she said his eyes changed from blue to black. And then he set a fire in the garage. Wow. Yeah, that's probably your lower grade narcissist. That was all the behavior of your lower grade, because there are different classes of narcissists and there are different schools of narcissist. The classes is the fuel matrix. The school is the type of narcissist. She said, we think that we're getting the best of the as a primary source. However, we are truly getting the worst of the narcissist. Absolutely, because you're the close. And Red said it was hard for me to accept that he was evil and he was pure evil. And the things that he knew were just from a malevolent spirit. He was a greater narc. And whatever spirit was in him was in total control. And see, the greatest narc is terrible. They are horrendous, because they are very cerebral. They're very patient. They're very long suffering because they are more experienced than your regular narcissist. So the things that will knock a narc over, they get injured, but they pursue vengeance, and they pursue vengeance with thought processes. I mean, they plan your demise with such evil until it is almost just frightening how evil they can get and how much pain they want a human to bear. They want to rip your heart out. Once you leave, don't go back. If you're a primary source, especially your torment is worse. And it's not that he's faithful. It's just that he could get more fuel out of you. He can register you in more places being the primary source than he does with the secondary source. She said, yep, I took my ex back many times and got more and more abusive. She said, and I had to call the cops on him. It got messier every time. Absolutely, Jennifer, that lower narcissist would even result to death. Don't you ever underestimate them. So thank God you was able to free yourself. No matter what you do to them, they will come back. Before I was saved, I played back, and it was 4 different supplies, Trina, Jada, etc. And he never knew it was me. And he went the extreme for 4 of those fake characters. Wow. I don't even know how he did it. I don't know how he did it. That must have been a younger narc, older narc. It would be hard to fool him like that. Red, let's talk about these greater narcissists are not human. They are not. They are crazy. They are crazy. And Red, the fact that you endure what you endured is tremendous when you are in your right mind. And some of you really need to give God a praise break. You need to take time and give God a praise break right now that you made it through, because you know without God, your mind would have went to pieces, because they had no mercy. There was no grace. There was no mercy. Uh, and then Earth Harvester said, they do not change, not over time, not over supply, and not over consequences. That's good. Well said. If anyone knew that they were dealing with an evil spirit, it would be much easier to run away. It would be, but they are so cloaked. They're so cloaked, and that spirit has covered them. She said, never, ever going back. I don't blame you. He was younger. Oh, he was really crazy then. I remember one night in Jamaica, he was staring at me and I got real dizzy. And I asked him, what was he doing? And he chuckled and broke the stare, and the dizziness went away. Oh my God, he was in the witchcraft. And Sandy Lou said, praise the Lord. See, that's what I'm talking about, Sandy. We need a praise break. The greater not will kill you. Thank the Lord I made it through. Wanda says amen. And Jennifer said, yep. And he continues to threaten my life. My friend and I should buy a gun. If you do, somebody gonna die. Somebody's gonna get seriously hurt, because when a narc usually promise they're gonna do something, they're gonna find a way to do it, even if it take them years. And you can see them calculating that same thing that is in their mind. Most narcissists that made a statement like that said they was going to do something. They had a gun and they would do it. They would just do it, and they went to jail, because there's no such thing as violating the law and hurting someone and getting away with it. It will come back around if it come back around from heaven. She said they speak so nice to their friends and family, having all these people fool around me and on his camp. The part of it is his gaslight. Wanda says he would talk in my ear while I was sleeping. He's mind controlling. He's mind training you, because your subconscious is taking those words in. And then in the beginning of the day, it forwards them to your consciousness, and your consciousness want to action. Your consciousness want to connect to a doing. And Eddie said, have a great weekend. Need to start and go to work. Thank you, Eddie. Love you all. Love you, Eddie. Eddie, I'll see you on tomorrow. And so, with the supply, the one thing the narcissist want to do is the supply. He spend all of his energy telling you he loves you, then he wants to get you in bed quick. I mean, that the first week or two, they tell you they love you, and they can tell you they love you in the first week and make you feel like they're so in love with you. You give up everything, you leave everything, because you feel that it's true love. But as the primary supply, the primary supply is the one he married. The primary supply, the one who take care of the children. The primary supply is the one he give his number to, and you can't find nobody else. You can always find him. The primary can always locate him, even though the primary can always have him. He decide when you have him. He decide when you're going to be with him. But the primary gets it in May. Right now, he doesn't push things away. The primary source is always in the now. The primary source never have to wonder about them calling. The primary source don't until they go to discard. When he start to devaluate you and discard you, then you can't locate him. He start ghosting out, being silent. You can tell when all of these features come that you're getting ready to go through hell, especially if he go through a neutral phase. And this neutral phase, he don't argue with you, but he's not saying anything. That is to come before all hell break loose. The overnight ambitious one said, absolutely, Red. The narc I was with did the same thing. He was a Panamanian and Trinidadian, and he used to stare at me doing sex, saying, you are mine. Oh yeah, and he means it. Uh, Say, look into my eyes. That was Sandy. Yes, I remember questioning him above uh, about how he would change the tone of his voice and how hypnotizing it was. I am not going to lie. He had a nice voice. Some of the narcissists I know are some of the most attractive men and women there are. They keep themselves well. They're very business wise. They have a lot of good qualities, but they're tormentors. They are liars. They are deceivers. I wonder how many of our pastors know this and then leave us when they know this. Just wonder uh, why they they just don't solidify what they're doing. They like to hide it because they like pain. You, as a primary source, need to brace yourself. You will get hurt. You will get hurt. Yes, primary sources always get discarded. And Earth Harvester said they are like that motto, and that motto says what it says: speak gently yet carry a big stick. Wow. Again, the empath. Yep. Yes, ma'am. And then is this Monique says good morning. Oh, hello, Monique. Yeah, we are having some awesome discoveries here and some awesome discussions here, and we are discussing the primary source. We are discussing the primary source. And the primary source is the first lineup of all the sources. Hello, Ted. How are you? She said, missed the message, but here now. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And so the primary source is the one who's going to get recognized. The primary source is the one who's going to get love bombed the best. Their love bombing is off the chain as a primary source. The way they love bomb the source also have something to do with that category. When they really want to love bomb you, they take and make you the primary source. Secondary source, well, not so much. Third source, tertiary source, mm-mm. They are one with the primary. They are one with the primary. That's why tonight is the primary source. They want primary. And some of you who know the fuel matrix, you know when he's coming back. You know when he's hoovering. You know it doesn't work. You done been through with this young man and you've seen him tangle your mind. You came out of it. You've seen him speak things, lies. You came out of it. And then you uh, are not careful with your emotion and you allow your reasoning to start coming in. You start thinking of the brain like you shouldn't think, because you think that because this narcissist, he look like he has emotion, but he don't. He tortures your brain. Your brain cry out for help. You have memory loss because you've been devalued. You have fogged because you've been devalued. Things that make sense, you've been devalued. It doesn't make sense. You never thought you were wrong when you stood up for right. Now you don't know what's right or wrong because you've been devalued. And then when he devalued you with your business, with your ambition, with your goals, because a narcissist gets sick when you are successful. Now they are sick because they don't have nothing to throw at you. They feel like they're left behind. And you know that you are a primary source. You have been tortured. You've seen him gaslight. You've seen him torture bond. Like the young lady was saying here, she's tortured. And that torment and trauma bonding that she receives from him, make her feel like she's not a primary, that she's a dirty little secret. Yes, that's what I said. I was going to say the dirty little secret is when the narcissist sees you, but instead of taking you to a fine restaurant, he takes you to a McDonald's. Instead of the narcissist taking you to a beautiful place, he takes you to a crummy place because he have interested in one thing: screw you and leave you. That is it. You can't ever get in contact with the narcissist. He just unfolds before you. So you are thinking, I'm the last one. I'm the last one that going to um, overthrow this, and you want to pull him in so there wouldn't be anybody else. You will never own a narcissist. Even though you are the main supply, you will never own him. He will never let you have him. Hello, I think I saw TMG on here. He will never let you own him. He will never, ever let you own him. Just when you think you got him, he shifts on it. She said, hey, stop watching these videos. I have to stop watching these videos because it make me reflect back and I need help moving forward. Yeah, the only thing about that, Red, is without the videos, you keep that information fresh, especially when you're helping someone. You have to keep it fresh. That becomes your fight. They devalue you with family to absolute and isolation. They use everything that's close to you. They want what's close to you. They crave what's close to you because they want to hurt them too, but they want them to hurt you. He's hoovering now, but quiet and silence. About with my grade school graduation coming up, I know he's not coming, but I will not walk a fear anymore, a crowd. It is. Well, that is something. She said, I don't watch it as much. This is TMG. She said, but one today is bothering me. I'll have to drop off. There's only 6 months. It's only 6 months. And he's starting to hoover me through that extravagant means. Hello there, Sadler. Good morning, TMJ. What do you mean? Okay, he's hoovering you, but you said it's been 6 months. What video that you saw bother you? What is it that bother you? Why do you want, what is it that didn't record as sound to you in the video? What is it? Because educating yourself is very, 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 very powerful. It's very powerful. And you have to educate yourself. You have to be aware of what's going on because people are getting discarded every single day. And some people don't know what they're dealing with. They don't even know what a narcissist is. It hadn't entered their mind. It hadn't entered there yet. They're just hurting. They just know they're hurting. They think it's a regular breakup. They think he stopped loving them. He don't realize that he always didn't love them. So where's the break? She said this video is triggering her. Yeah. The reason this video is triggering her because you're a primary source, but you have to deal with it. Let's peel back the layers. Let's not run from it. You don't run from pain. You deal with pain. It may be painful to deal with, but once we deal with it, the voice of the pain, the hold of the pain start to lessen. And you got to remember the reason we know so much is not because we have not been a victim ourselves. It's because we've been through this experience. We done been here before. And because of what we know and because of what area it took freedom for us, we're giving that to you. We're giving that to you. She said, good afternoon. Hello, Just Queenie. We're giving it to you. When he comes in for a hoover, I mean, you don't need a video for him to hoover. You still have to fight him. You have to fight the tone of his voice, the vibration of his voice, because he's going to put everything in it when he comes to hoover you. And if you still weak, you can get the hoover. He will promise you the world and listen to no promises doing a hoover. She said, this video is triggering me out. Oh, wow. Okay. It's triggering me out of nowhere. Hearing what I went through is hard. Every time you say it. What is this? working through the pain will educate you again through these demonic people. Absolutely, absolutely. She said, I think it's good cause it's a good. I think it's good cause me and my ex have been at on it for 6 years, and I don't want to fall into it, especially with someone new. Yeah, but you have to get him off because you got a magnet right now. You're going to draw another narcissist. Facts, facts, and more facts. Absolutely. Dr. Carmen said it herself. Even if it hurts, we have to face the truth. The truth will make us free. Absolutely. My father is a greater narc. You were with a narc. That's probably why you drew, Red, the narcissist that you drew. She said, and I have attracted all of these narcs. I believe it is good to resolve the entanglements of my childhood. Absolutely. I've never been treated so bad in my life. Yeah, that's the narcissist. That's what they do. That's who they are. They do it every day. They do it all day. They do it to everybody. And Wanda says here, she said, the only way to heal is face the pain. It continues to be it continues, if we continue to conceal the pain, we're going to continue to fall back into the narcissist. Yes, Red, this is what I learned constructing my mom's suggestion by Dr. Ryan. Stop the cycle. Saints, you have been through a tremendous time with a human person that cares nothing about you, that made you believe they loved you, that love bombed you until you thought that this was it. They saw the good in you and brought you out like you never thought you would be brought out. Now is your time. It's your time to think. Oh, Lord, she said, stop this cycle. Okay, how do we stop this cycle? Let's go in. How do we stop the cycle of narcissism? Number one, recovery is to acknowledge the moment, acknowledge the pain, acknowledge what was done, acknowledge the person, acknowledge, acknowledge, acknowledge. Because what you don't acknowledge, you can't do nothing with. We want to get rid of the pain, and we have to acknowledge. We have to. You can bring in, you can have any instrument you want to acknowledge the narcissist. And I think one day we will do a class, and in this class we will have different subject matters for this class, and we could judge it that way. She said, Red, I remember as a child I would have dreams of a warlock, but it was my dad, and when I got out of school the next day, I would run to meet him. Listen to this. She's a father card, and I tell him how scared I was at the time. Wow. Oh, you're talking to a priest. My father was the most evil, malignant narc until I met my ex. I am dealing with it. She said, and yes, I don't believe people. Interesting. Insidious and cruel from being loved. He wasn't loved. Insidious and cruel from being food. The primary source is the love bomb with 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 greatness, because they're good at what they do. But when they drop you, you want to drop you from on high, not at the level that you experience him, greater than the level that you experience him. Primary supply is remembered because you gave out so much fuel. So much fuel. Kathy said, I feel you, TMJ. I feel you. Let me tell you something. A narcissist love doesn't mean just because they torment you that you forget them. Some of you, you don't forget it. You remember. You remember the touch, the talk. You remember. You remember. And then you wonder, What is a primary source when you've been dogged out? You're dogged out because you know him. They make you pay for knowing them. They make you surrender. They make you pay the price of sacrifice just because you knew the ex. And the ex has no intent of coming back with any grace, coming back with any love, coming back with any uh, good in mind for you. She said it can only progress from our childhood, who we met in our adulthood, that evil elevates. And Jordanese says spiritual warfare. The narcissist, his mom, his new supply, and all are against me. They want to block my blessing. But as a child of God, but I will keep praying. They cannot block your blessing. The Bible said, "No weapon formed against you shall be able to prosper." Prayer is to keep power. When you fill your life with prayer, you fill your life with victory. God's greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. Now the Lord is that spirit, and where the spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. If you the narc used me to move to Illinois. She said with me and brought a house and kicked me out. What? That's what they do. That's what they do. Look at what Karen said. She said, "I seen the light yesterday. The hurricane, the horrific pain, and the tears I felt. Actually, his feelings he cared about." Do you know what a narcissist? Their feelings are so evil that if you picked up on them, you will understand how diabolical they are. There's no good. There is no good. There's no good. You will find yourself with the good of you just going somewhere to spend uh, to try to get help from the narcissist. And you will go to places that people don't understand what you're going through. On this scope, we understand. I'm feeling some of y'all because some of you're not totally over it yet. And this is triggering. I can feel some of the emotions that some of you going through. I can feel the fact that some of you are missing him. She said, let's finish the topic later. Your body needs sleep. Oh, you know what? That's that empath. That is my super empath. But I want to help. This young lady asked a question about the narcissist, the supply. And when she asked the question, she wanted to know how the supply is made, how the supply is chosen. And the supply is made through boot camp, through emotional traumas to become a primary supply. And the primary supply go through different testing. They have to be able to handle pain, first of all, to become the primary supply. Handle disappointment. You got to handle the lies. And so to become the primary, you see the narcissist and able to handle the narcissist. And you keep giving grace for the narcissist to return. You keep giving grace for the narcissist to go out. You keep giving grace for the narcissist not to consider you. And you keep giving graces. And when you do that, when you say that, that is bringing you in, because the supply, the primary supply, have to be able to handle pain, have to be able to handle cheating and triangling, have to be able to handle his emotional disruption. You got to be able to handle 1 minute he's here and the next minute he's there. Then you got to be able to handle word salad, because the primary source, they want to make sure it does not leave. When you get that much torture, why would a narcissist expect you to stay? Because when he love bomb, he think his love bombing is so good that you can't stay. You can't stay in the mindset of not forgiving him. You can't stay in the mindset of not loving him. You always stay in the mindset of loving your narcissist. It can be across the room. It can be living with them, married to them. It can be dating. Whatever he does it so well until you, as the primary, are unable to lead. If your children saw what you went through just become a primary, will they approve? So she said, I was made an empath as a child by my narcissistic father. I've always had high pain and tolerance. I can handle all types of pain and chaos. Intolerance for BS. Always put myself last. An empath does, but an empath is not made from childhood. They born empaths. So that's probably when you notice a discovery. She said the torture of a child made sure I developed into a super empath, and see, we're going to talk more about that. These are things that you're born with. These are natures that you're born with. These are not things that you're taking on. You are born with that. That's why super empaths, they draw narcissists. They can't figure out why a super empath draw narcissists. When you have such devastation in your life, how can you bring out the beauty out of your life? Sometimes it takes for the individual to know who they are, register who they are, and once you do, register who he is. It doesn't mean you don't care about him being the primary source. You are registering your escape, and you got to remember, when you leave, it's not when you heal. You heal as you leave, and you may heal after you leave. Leaving does not heal. Making up in your mind heal. Making up in your mind move you forward. And Terry said 1,000 miles away, you still connected, hard to break. Absolutely, because they got your soul, and your body may leave, but your soul is still with them. I don't care about Knox anymore. I only care about the son, I have with him. Please protect him. I have a dream when I am 5 months old. I can't even explain how I saw something. Okay. And Jordan said, and when my son was 5 months old, sorry, okay, I remember the narc always saying, I passed his test. That's what he means. That's it. And that I would be like, what test? I must be the blonde in another life, because all the cords were released early. All the cards were released early. All the cards. Listen to me. The moment you met your narcissist, he started figuring out where you were fit. Once you yield to your narcissist, he started thinking about how much pain he can bring you and your family and your children. There are so many descriptions of an empath and a primary source that is an empath. That's a double whammy. The primary source that is an empath becomes a life for the role for the narcissist. And he just put everything on that primary source and leave. So those of you who are primary sources, how many of you empaths are primary sources? If you think you are empath, say me. Say me. If you think you are a primary source, say me. Me. Sandy said me. Earth Harvester said me. Karen, she said, do they keep their karma? You can't evade your karma. Yeah, they're going to get a recompense. TMG said, okay, Lynette's me. King's daughter said, this may be a good topic. Maybe what we'll do another topic with the primary source, secondary source. We'll do the dirty little secret. We'll do the intimate source. We will do the non-intimate source. Maybe we need to do the different caliber of sources that is used. Most of you are on here is a primary source. So do you know to get another source, they have to have maximum fuel to even compete with what you're giving. They have to give copious amount of fuel. She said The Gambler's Son by Kenny Rogers. And I think of the Narc. Oh, yeah. Every time you listen to that song. Yeah. She said, what's the difference between an empath and someone that was born that way? Again, there's no difference. An empath is not made. Prophets they have a calling on them. The empath, that is your nature. You're born that way. You are born that way. And so that's why you can feel. You felt before the Narc. You felt things before the Narc. The Narc didn't bring that out. It was brought out. You probably realized it after the Narcissist. But it's not because you later in life became an empath. That's not the way that works. You are an empath from birth. You just needed triggers to know that. And so you probably got, and JW said me, you probably got enter a situation that revealed that you were an empath. And based on the trauma that you went through, based on the situations that you handle, it let you know the degree of impact that you were. And you as a super empath was able to handle copious amount of strain and stress and bring resolve, because that's what empaths do. They bring resolve and to people's lives. They bring relief to people's lives. And this is Monica saying, what's the difference between the empath and someone who was born? Okay, I answered that. That is the exact song that I played a few days before I left him. That is a good song. I love Kenny Rogers. TMG said, that's the exact song I obeyed a few days later. All righty. Here is this. Earth Harvest says, my journey is over 30 years. Woo! And God has revealed Narc's karma to me. She said, recently, the Narc did nothing with his life. He is the same. God wants you to grow. 30 years. Earth Harvester, you are amazing. You are amazing. I've met people who dealt like this, and they've not been in for 30 years, and they've not done so good. You are excellent. Now, were you in it 30 years, or as a combination, were you free 30 years with the Narcissist? And that is for Earth Harvester. Monkey blessing. Thank you so much for this video this morning. Film so nervous and angry today. Don't be angry. Don't be angry. Be forgiving. Even if they don't change, be forgiving. The Narc used to tell me how powerful I was. He recognized that you were super empath, because I would say prolific things and I would listen to my own words. He knew you was a super empath. He wanted to walk because he did not want you to get angry. Separation. Here, she said the Narc used to tell me how powerful. Okay. And she said, separated from my husband, however, says that doesn't love anymore like me. It has been fuel. Child support. He doesn't continue us. He doesn't continue to do harm through our proxies anymore. So how long you've been discarded, earth harvested? How long have you been discarded, or how long have you been freed? Daughters of the King, Narcissist destroy your health. Yep. Your confidence. Yep. And she said, you know what I'll do? I don't know what I'll do without the Lord who got me through. Oh my God. It is amazing. It is amazing. 30 years of dealing with this. Wow. Wonder says, my husband's primary supply are Christian women. I pray that God would strengthen us as Christian women. We should not be so weak to go back to them and to let them keep hurting us. 30 years dealing with this evil. And how many years, Earth Harvest, have you been free? How many years have you been free? She said, my husband, primary source. How long have you been free, Earth Harvest? How long have you been free? How long have you been free? All righty. She says, my husband's primary supplies are Christian women. That is so sad. That almost makes me cry. What is it about us that we can be deceived? We are the one that discern. We are the one that catch it. We are the one that get it, but they show you we're human too. Our humanity has got us in trouble. And the narcissists want you to walk in your humanity than to walk in the spirit. Deny your humanity and walk in the spirit. The irony of how foolish are they to deny such unconditional love. They will never feel the magnitude of healing love ever again. Our love is unique, like our fingerprint. And Earth Harvest said, okay. All righty then. She said, I was 6 years and ran and went no contact. And he ceased and stalked me, terrorized me. This, wow. 6 years. All righty then. You 6 years and you ran and you went no contact. And he chased you and stalked you and terrorized you all those years using proxy flying monkeys and continue to continue his harm. The effectual fervent prayer of the righteous man availeth much. Prayer helps. Prayer wins. Prayer overthrows. Prayer assures confidence, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. All right, my lovely, lovely, lovely fam. I love you. Let's talk about this on tomorrow when I come on. Let's talk about this on tomorrow. We're going to talk about supply, but let's talk about the fuel matrix itself. Now, Red, and I think that was Earth Harvester, those of you who had fuel from the narcissist, a greater narcissist, because you got fuel too. The only fuel you got was negative, because the other fuel you got in the love bombing was the only positive fuel you get every time. He's love bombing or deceiving. All of it is negative. All of it is absolutely negative. Karen, thank you so much Come on, fam. Give me a big hug. I love you. Thank you so much. Know that your experience that you have with the narcissist is helping others to heal. The narcissist will never overcome you. You are powerful. The power that God put in you is total light, is total strength. And that energy will take and deliberate, and the vibration from that positive energy, which is anointing, will destroy every stronghold. It will destroy all the works of the enemy. You are more powerful than what you believe. And God's presence and God's power is with you. And you know that God is not giving you the spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind. God gives you faithfulness. And I want you to know that we love you and we praise God for you. Remember, you are the power source. You see great people, but you are God's great people. And God will let you know that He's with you. God will give you strength. God will give you character. I want you to be really strong. I want you to go one step beyond. If you know that Jesus can help you through it, and get that paper. Let Jesus help you through this. She says, hugs and kisses. Thank you, Apostle. You are so welcome. Thank you for all this networking. Yes, she said, and we heal little and we heal a lot. Thank you so much. It is a path and we have to heal with God. Amen. Thank you, Apostle. God bless you. Big hugs and prayers and kisses, everyone. I love you so much. I really thank you for just being with me. Even the time that I am tired, it is now 6:20, 6:32. I had an hour sleep about 1 o'clock when I got in, and I've been online, and I refuse not to come online with you. You mean so much to me, and it means a lot that you go forth. It means a lot. She said, when I needed to hear that. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I want you to know that you are powerful. You are very, very powerful people. Don't ever forget that. And when you look in the mirror, you see the power of God all on your life, and you see victory. In Jesus' name, and in the time of rediscovery, God will give you the strength you need to hold off everyone. In Jesus' name, know that I love you, fam. This was so awesome. We was talking about that supply. We talked about the boot camp. We talked about how the supply is trained. We talked about the supply being sustained. We talked about when the supply gets free and leave. And we talked about the supply when the supply gets discarded and come back. It is torture all the way. When you are a primary source, stay clear. Once you are out, stay out. Don't go back. In your heart, when your heart say go back, take your heart and move your heart out of the way and tell that situation, I will not go back. I will not go back, because God don't want you going back into trauma. So He take and bring you back into life. Amen. Amen. Jordany says here, she said, I have to go. Have a great day. Oh, we will. Thank you, Jordany. And we will see you tomorrow. JW, I appreciate you. We love you. Hugs and kisses. Thank you, Kathy. God bless you. All right, we are out here. Let's celebrate our freedom today. If you like coffee, get you coffee. If you had like tea, get you tea. And when you're drinking that tea and you're drinking that coffee, I want you to know that I am praying for you every day. Even if you're drinking that bottled water, know that someone is in your corner, and this is your family, and your family on this site is fighting for you. Red, it's so good to see you. I missed you the other night. It's good to see you on this morning. Good morning, fam. I love you, and I will see you on tomorrow.